Hey, this is Seb for Hell Militia, and I'm here with you at the Tampa Morgue.
What's up? This is Tony, and you're listening to the Tampa Morgue, Season 3, Episode 132. And as always, from his studio deep in the bowels of Tampa Bay, Florida, Mr. Ed Webb. What is up, Webb?
Mr. Anderson, for fuck's sakes, what is going on?
Not much, man. Episode 132. We opened up the show with Hell Militia, Lifeless Light from the Hollow Void record that came out on Season of Mist Underground Activists in 2022. It will be joined by the bass player Seb here in about 25 minutes. Besides that, man, just, another week 7th birthday at the house today. My daughter Samantha, so it's been a busy weekend here.
Yeah, man. Wow, 7th birthday. It's been 12 years since I dealt with that. So,
Wow.
and that's on the low end of the spectrum, you know.
It's flying by, man, I mean, it just feels like we were just at the hospital with her when she got here, and now 7 years old. But yeah, had us, well, we got fortunate, man. We've had beautiful weather all weekend. We went down to Vilnius to see, my wife's family. It's been getting nicer out the last couple weeks, but this is actually the first, really it felt like spring.
Yeah. Last night, I saw, our awesome meteorologist there, Dennis Phillips. He was like, it's crazy that there was this little cold front coming through, and he showed a map where in Tampa it was like 88, and like 50, 60 miles away it was 70. Like that was the difference in temperature from the cold front pushing through. It was like a 20-degree swing, literally only 60, 70 miles away. I was like, man, that's fucking crazy how. And then when I went out last night, it was breezy and it just had that right amount of coolness in the air where it was comfortable. That spring, that real old school Jersey spring where it's not hot, but it's not cold. And it's just like, if it could stay like this year round, man, life would be awesome. But yeah, it was great. And then of course today, nope, well, nope, the sun god came back and said, fuck all you. We're gonna burn, we're
120
gonna burn
degrees.
you all. We're gonna burn each and every one of you bastards.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah,
have
it's
our summers here, man, are, beautiful. I feel like our summers are probably, like, in the 80s, and coming from Tampa where you're right, like, you leave your door, get into the car, you're soaked already from sweat, and that always sucked, and that's the way it always is. Here, the summers are awesome. The winters are brutal, but the summers are great, and, yeah, we have
yeah,
all the
I'm going into
seasons and
business,
stuff.
man. I'm gonna sell those little neck fans so you can walk to your car without dying.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just turn the little neck fan on when you walk out the door, and by the time you get to the car, you feel great.
Yeah, it's eh
19.99 to send me your money, and I'll box one right up for you.
yeah, but it's true, isn't it, man? When you live in Tampa,
It
you
is.
even in the morning, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, that heat is already going.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I went out to look at something on the car, and I was just standing there, and I was like, "Are you kidding?" Like, I felt like there I was sitting under a heat lamp or in my sauna. Like, it just sitting in one spot for a minute with the sun, if you're not in the shade, it's I'm just like, "What? Man, that's brutal." And, of course, tomorrow my wife's family's in town, and, they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the beach," and I'm like, "What do you just intentionally wanna die?" I mean, seriously, I bought this little fucking 10 by 10 little pop-up tent thing, and I'm like, "If you think I'm coming out from under this bitch, I'm just here to support you bastards. I'm not going, I don't need to be burnt for Europe."
Yeah, I'm not much of a beach guy. Yeah, well, you guys you guys have some shows coming up, man, and, well, you'll be getting here during some
Hopefully.
nice weather, though, so hopefully, you know, you'll hopefully
Hopefully.
be having some shows coming up, so,
Yeah, you never know, man. I seen Vader had to cancel a tour in Australia, so I'm like, "Oh, man, is this the sight to come?" And I just saw, like, man, poor Nevermore, man, I'm glad that they're doing their thing again, and, I saw they had to cancel because the singer lives in Greece and he can't get in the country. Like, they can't get his shit in time, and I'm just like, "Man, we're still doing this, huh? We're back to what? The COVID bullshit where you're gonna put people on lockdown." It's like, man, lock the wrong people down and let the good people in, man, for fuck's sakes, man.
Yeah, it's all fucked up, I mean, that's why people come here to escape from it probably because it's a fucked up world, and,
Even this was never an issue where you just show your passport and you get into the country, Now it's like everything's become just crazy, and I just hope it doesn't turn into where nobody can go anywhere, you know what I mean? Because that's the killer of music right there. Because if you can't tour behind your product, you might as well just, I mean, nothing against physical copies or whatever, but you really make money on merchandise and touring. I mean,
you know what
anybody who
also kills the bands now is gonna be, the prices of gas and stuff like that
Yeah.
right now is
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
be that's gonna be a
Yep.
thorn in the side,
Yeah.
yeah, it's never easy, man, and it's only gonna get
And
worse
food,
probably.
everything.
Food, yeah.
Everything's, it's not a it's a weird time,
It's
but
not a good time to be
we'll
alive,
see.
and that
We'll see
yeah,
what happens.
but hey,
You'll
we
hear it here
appreciate people
first,
coming here.
folks.
Yeah. Now that we cheered everybody up, so let's talk about upcoming guests, Ed. It's kinda we have a bunch of guests coming on, but I will announce a handful of them now. We have, Slaughter from Cruel Force coming on. We have the guys from Transylvania coming on out of Austria. We have Panzerkampfwagen from Possession coming on. We have Jan and Marco from Witching Hour coming on. So we have some cool episodes coming up, man. We have more that we haven't announced yet that we just want to get confirmed. But it's going to be busy. Ed's going to be on tour, but we're still going to be putting out shows. So appreciate everybody who listens. You can always contact us at thetampamorgue@gmail.com. Keep up to date with us on the Instagram page. That's the most accurate place to keep up with information for the show. We do post on Facebook, but Facebook is a
Yes.
waste. So yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, we do have shirts still. We do ship to the States and we do ship to Europe. So $25 a shirt plus shipping. Give us a message on the Instagram page or again at the email. And Ed, me and Ed have been doing something, behind the scenes a little bit. We've been interviewing the guests that you hear, but we've actually been asking them something on the side that we haven't been putting into the interviews because we've been saving them for a different time. And we're going to start plugging them in tonight. So Ed, we basically, been asking people in their opinion who was the most important band out of Tampa or Florida, and what was the most important or even favorite album out of Florida. That's pretty much what we've been asking everybody.
Yeah, we've been pretty much, we didn't keep it to Tampa centric. We thought about that, and then we decided because technically Death was from Altamont Springs or Orlando, and some bands are from like Atheist are from Bradenton, and Malevolence from Miami or Cynic or any of these bands that you technically would think of. And it wasn't just limited to death metal; it was metal in general. And we opened it up to Florida based because Florida had a very old school but important metal scene. So, and most people, if you're in death metal, thrash metal, whatever, you probably listen to a lot of Florida metal in your early days. So yeah, it's a good question to ask, um, and it's amazing some of the responses because you could almost uh, call it what people will think because we know for firsthand the bands that were important here, like to us. So it's amazing to hear other people's opinions because not everybody that lived in Florida would have the same idea. You know what I mean?
When we did the interviews with the musicians who came on, this was a question that we did ask them, but we didn't publish in that interview. So for every episode from now on, or most of them, this is something we're going to try to add and see how it works out. The first person that we're going to do this with is actually going to be Jeff Tandy from Imprecation of Versifera. He was on episode 127. So yeah, we basically asked him again, in his opinion, what was the most important band out of Tampa or out of Florida, and what was the most important or his favorite album out of the area. So here's what Jeff had to say, and we'll be back with me and Ed after this. Okay, Jeff, in your opinion, what is the most important Tampa Bay, or we can even say Florida metal band, and what is the most important record to come out of Tampa Bay back in the day?
I actually have two different answers for that. I would say the most important Tampa record is Altars of Madness. That set a standard that so many bands followed, and it was like a really crucial merging of black metal and death metal, and pretty much a state-of-the-art album. That said, the album that had the biggest effect on me far and away was the Deicide self-titled debut. That album just exceeded all expectations. It basically took Slayer worship to its ultimate extreme, and it also made devil worship kind of a viable thing, and it took it out of sort of the comical Ozzy Osbourne mean of that, where it was always with a nod and a wink. Deicide in their inception were dead serious about it, and they were encouraging other people to follow them in an earnest sense, to say nothing of the fact that their musicianship and their intensity and their just unfettered violence, I think to this day is unparalleled.
Most important band to come out of, we could even say Nasty Savage. I know you've played with them, and that's pretty much like the Roots and the Sabotage and stuff.
Most important, I mean, I would say if you're talking about that, then yeah, Nasty Savage would be it, because they were a direct influence on all these other bands that came after them in terms of intensity and theatrics and just breaking barriers and crossing barriers and really just capturing people's imagination, and also just just being avowed to a really bare-knuckled, violent standard. So yeah, I think Nasty Savage. If you want to talk about one single critical band that made the difference, yeah, from Tampa, it would be Nasty Savage.
And there you go. That was the first time we've done that. That was Jeff Tandy from Imprecation. If you want to hear his interview, it was him and Dave from Imprecation. That was episode 127. You can go back and hear that. And yeah, so this new thing we decided to do on the show. We'll see how it works. We've been putting those answers to the side, so we figured we'd add it into the show tonight. And Ed, do you want to get everything? You want get moving? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I know we got to do shows and all that other stuff, so I figured let's get that stuff out of the way, get the guest on. This way, we don't want to keep them waiting.
Yeah, so again, we have Seb from Hell Militia out of France. Killer band, I've listened to them since day one pretty much when they first came out. Seb has been in the band since 2010, and we're going to play some of the other material that he wasn't on also from Hell Militia tonight. They had some killer lineups, and we're going to talk all about that. Excited to have him on here. We'll get him on again in about 15 minutes. So what we're going to do now is, Ed, we'll do the Circle Studios promo, and then we're going to play the Hell Militia track Goat Throne from the SPK Commando 4-way split that came out on Spike Coal Records. And then we'll do musicians who passed away, releases, shows, and then we'll get to Seb from Hell Militia. Sound good to you?
Let's do it. Roll it.
First, we're going to play Hell Militia, Goat Throne, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this.
Hello, Tampa Bay Morgue listeners. This is Joe from Circle Rehearsal Studio, Tampa Bay's rehearsal giant with 33 years of service. We know what you need to rock. Large, clean, quiet, cool, smoke-free, isolated rooms with the best gear at a musician-friendly price of $25 an hour. Professional, courteous, easygoing environment. Recently upgraded and remodeled with top-quality gear, Marshall, Ampeg, Pearl, Tampa, JBL, Yamaha, PPP, and more. We have the experience and the gear to provide you with the best possible rehearsal experience at the best price. Just completed and soon to open Circle's demo studio for your recording needs. From laying down drum tracks to complete projects, we have you covered at a musician-friendly price. Also in the work is the pro rehearsal room, freshly appointed and stocked with the best gear at nicely competitive rates. Our contact number is 727-546-8930. Our address is 10841 75th Street, Seminole, Florida, 33777. We have 7 large rehearsal rooms. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
And we are back on the morgue, and that was Joe Diaz, one-time guitar player for bands like End Unseen, John Oliva's Pain. He was also involved with Disaster Piece, which was a project of guitarist Pete Black from the King Diamond Band. I saw Pete announce yesterday that there's a new band out called Lex Legion, which is Pete Black, Andy LaRocque, Hal Patino, and Mickey D. It's a hell of a lineup. Yes, Mr. Diaz is the owner of the legendary Circle Studios, and most Tampa Bay musicians have plugged their gear in there one time or another. And before that, we played Hell Militia. We played the track Goat Throne from the four-way split with Antaeus, Deviant, Eternal Majesty, and Hell Militia, and it came out on Spike Hole Records on 7-inch in 2001. And if you're a new listener, we welcome you to the show. We appreciate you checking us out. This is episode 132, and you can go back and listen to 131 past episodes wherever you listen to your podcast for free. We are an audio-only underground extreme metal show. We are in no way influencers of any sort. We are only here to document the history of the underground. And if you go back to our prior episodes, you will hear interviews with musicians like Chris Reifert from Autopsy, Eat My Fuck, and The Abscess, Lee Harrison from Monstrosity, Malevolent Creation, and Terrorizer. He was on here for 8 hours. We broke that up into 2 different episodes. Chris Volcano from Abominator, Cemetery Urn, and Denouncement Pyre. Dave and Jeff from Texas's Imprecation were on here. Perversifier of Miramac, Ancestral Fog, and Morte Incandescente. He also played bass with Corpus Christi for a period of time. We had Yuha on here from Death Chain, War Moon Lord, Chamber of Enlightened, Hana from Asagram, Pest from Germany, Infernal and Odin from Disaster, Sergeant Salston from Deathhammer, Jamie Bailey from Brodequin and Liturgy. We had the guys from Morbid Saint on here. We had Blood Serpent out of Vietnam, Ryan Waste from Bat and Municipal Waste. We had the guys from Witch Trap out of Columbia on here, Tony Dolan from Venom Inc., Atomcraft, and Venom, Snowy Shaw from King Diamond, Merciful Fate, and Notre Dame. We had Alessio on here from Violenter, Hobbs Angel of Death, and The Mentors. We also had Dallas Toller Wade on here from Nile and Narcotic Wasteland. He was on here a few times, actually. Dawn of the Dead from Nunslaughter, Luciferian Rights out of Mexico, Phantom out of Mexico, Martin Missy from Protector, Rob from Lucifericon and X-Destroyer 666. Tony Thomas from Witch Vomit and Torture Rack. Magnus from Aberration out of Norway. We had Yarno on here from Urn, Graves, and Ex-Barathrum. John Berry from Slaughter Messiah, Ancient Rites, and Nocturnal. We had Matt Bishop on from Human Artifacts and Lividity. We had Noella on here from Hexea out of Texas. We had Crusher from Finland's Morgul on the show, Adam Scott of Cardiac Arrest, Lord Sabathan from Slaughter Messiah, Morbid Death, Enthroned and Heinous. We had Jesse Jolly on from Malevolent Creation and Blightmas, and Ronnie Palmer on here from Malevolent Creation, Blood Messiah, and Perdition Temple, Heimland out of Norway, Yano of Anal Vomit out of Peru, Chuck Billy from Testament, Ritual Butcher of Finland's Ark Goat, Daniel Avenger from Nocturnal, Angel of Damnation, and Black Priest of Satan. We had Sadistic Fornicator and Bassist The One from UK's Necromaniac on the show, Ed Miller from Negative Plane. We had Eric on from Goat Seaman, Evil Dam, and Ex-Black Angel. Auntie, a.k.a. Necroterror from Cadaveric Incubator, Sluggather, and Satanic Warmaster. We had Jeff Manis on from Venom and Venom Inc. That's about a 4 or 5 hour interview. Takes us deep into the history of Venom. Vincent Crowley from Asteron, the Vincent Crowley Band, the Ex Nocturnus. We had Gene from Perdition Temple, Malefic Throne, Angel Corpse, and Hexorcist on the show. We had Glenn Destructor from Australia's Destructor on the morgue. King Fally from Deceased in October 31. Pat from Hell Witch. We had Nige Rocket on from Onslaught. Simo from Finland's Flame. We had Harry Quokinen on from Hooded Menace, Hail Conjurer, Horse Latitudes, and Hollow Woods. We had W. Whore Preacher on from Vomit Angel and Mask of Satan. We had Kev Desecrator on from Destroyer 666, Sepulchre, Venefiction, and Profanation. Nasty Nasty Ronnie from Nasty Savage was on for like 4 hours, gave us a deep dive into the history of Nasty Savage and the Tampa Bay metal scene. We had Terry Butler on from Obituary, Massacre, Inhuman Condition, and Death on the show. Another deep dive into the history of Tampa on that one. And those are just some of the interviews you're going to hear on the Tampa Morgue. Like I said, you can go back and listen to all the past episodes for free wherever you stream your podcasts. And what we're going to do now is pay some respect to the musicians who passed away this week. First, I'm going to mention the legendary Ross the Boss. The Bronx-born guitar player passed away at the age of 72. Ross was a member of Manowar, his self-titled project, The Dictators, Death Dealer, Brain Surgeons. Ross the Boss was also inducted into the Hall of Heavy Metal History in 2017. And next, we're going to mention Ika Mika Korahonen. The Finnish-born musician passed away at the age of 38. He was the vocalist in the death metal band Hateful, also had his doom death metal project called The Most Bizarre, where he played everything. And he was also the vocalist, bassist of the Finnish sludge doom metal band Goat Roach. Next, we're going to mention Goril Shapvalenko. He played in the folk metal bands Eldertale and Kramola. He also played in the black metal band Wolf Tomb. Klaus Wedegang, Danish bassist and guitarist for the bands Gutrix, Furious Trauma, and the Danish heavy metal band Jackal, and Copenhagen metal band Evil. He lost his life in a motorcycle accident at the age of 66. Now we're going to mention the Canadian-born drummer from the heavy metal band Hellion, Ryan Fay, out of Ontario. He passed away at the age of 25. And this one hits close to home. An American-born vocalist, Martin Moody, who worked with the bands Bandwhore out of Jacksonville and Tampa's Rape the Dead. He passed away at the age of 46. Martin was a friend and a supporter of the Florida metal scene, and you will be missed. We're going to go over to releases, then we're going to mention shows, and then we're going to get to our guest, Seb from Hell Militia. I'm going to start out with the French sludge doom metal band Cult of a Cult. They have an album coming out called I Have No Name. It's an independent release. Cult of a Cult formed in 2011. First release was a self-titled 5-song EP. This will be the band's 5th EP and the first full length since 2018's Anti-Life. I Have No Name has 6 tracks. It'll be available March 31st on CD and double vinyl. And next, we're going to mention Sisypian, the black death metal band out of Vilnius, Lithuania. They're putting out an album called Divergence on Ed Circle Productions out of Norway. The band was born in 2014. The first release was an EP in 2014 titled Perpetual Cycle of Absolution. They were also involved in a 6-way split in 2019. This will be the band's 3rd full length. It'll be available April 3rd. And you can hear more about the band when we have a few of the guys coming on the show in April. Next, the French death metal band Towering. They're putting out an album called Ablation of Man. It's coming out on Dollar Room Records out of France. The band started putting out demos in 2016 and 18, and also put out a debut album in 2019. The new record will feature 6 tracks and be available April 3rd. Then we go over to Gorgon Vomit, the UK death metal band. They're putting out an EP called Kill Pagans. It's going to be self-released. The band formed in 2022. First release was an EP in 2022. Debut full length was 2024. Kill Pagans EP will feature 3 tracks and be available April 3rd. And the last thing we're going to mention is actually a split between Funeral Chant out of Oakland and Exhumation out of Indonesia. And this split's coming out on Carbonized Records out of San Jose. It'll be titled Sacred Oath, Temple of Death. It'll have 7 tracks in total and be available April 3rd on Carbonized Records. And Mr. Webb, what do you have for shows?
Aside from probably what you have, I have Paths of Possession. They are playing on Saturday, April 11th at the Brass Mug with the mighty George Corpse Grinder Fisher from Cannibal Corpse on vocals. They're playing with Nibiru, Pontifex, Swamp Tooth, Corrupted Saint, and Endurus. It's $20 pre-sale, $25 at the door. That's what I got.
Well, I only have one, man. I'm going to mention Interceptor, who was a guest on the show probably last year, the year before that. Buckskin, Midnight Vice, and that's going to also be at the Brass Mug Friday, April 10th. That's 1450 Skipper Road. And that's all I have for shows too, man.
Yeah, I didn't see too much. A lot of stuff's coming in like May, June, so I figure we start announcing it a little closer to May. This way I don't get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, and those who are asking, you could always send us your shows, of course, the details, and, if it's related, we'll read it. And Ed, if you don't have anything else, man, I say we get Seb from Hell Militia on.
Let's do it, man. I'm good with it.
Cool. We're going to play Hell Militia, The Ultimate Deception. That came out on the Last Station on the Road to Death record. And then we'll be joined by Seb from the band, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this track.
What's up, guys? This is Ed from the Morgue, and if you're like Tony and I and dedicated to working out, and you're from Tampa or will be visiting Tampa, I'm going to let you in on the best-kept secret gym in the area, Tampa Family Fitness on the corner of Bears and Florida Avenue. And unlike the big box gyms where you're just a name and a number, the owners, Sarah and Eddie Amaral, have created a community where you're not just another face lost in the crowd. They also have, hands down, the best trainers in Tampa, with Coach J, Jared Perea, who I've personally witnessed take his clients to award-winning bodybuilders. Not to mention this dude is an absolute beast himself. So if you want to get in the best shape of your life, this is definitely the place to do it, and these are the people to do it with. So if you want a no-frills gym experience that I can only describe as old-school Arnold Schwarzenegger on Venice Beach with no fancy machines, just get in, get your ass kicked, get a crushing workout, then you want to go to Tampa Family Fitness at 14968 North Florida Avenue. And if you're a band that's traveling to Tampa and playing the Orpheum or the Brass Mug, this is literally less than a 5-minute drive from either location. There's a QR code on the door. Just scan it, pay $10, and you're good to go for the whole day. Or if you're in Tampa and you want to see what all the hype's about, stop in and get a day pass. And make sure you tell them Ed sent you from the Tampa Morgue.
I
And that was Hell Militia with The Ultimate Deception. And we are joined by the bassist, Seb. How you doing, man?
I'm very fucking fine. Thank you for having me.
Oh, definitely, dude. And how's everything over in France right now?
Well, petrol is off the roof. Everything is shitty, but yeah, well, same old, I guess.
It's universal if it makes you feel any better.
Yeah. I
You
know.
Everybody's fucked. What part of France do you reside in 2026?
Paris.
Okay.
Paris area, not Paris directly, Paris area. Yeah. We all do, actually.
Nice, man. And before we start interrogating you, we have two bass players here. We have you and Ed. What is the gear you play?
Right now, Fender. I play Aerodyne, and I'm very light on the gear. I'm just using Douglas Infinity because it fits the bill for me. It does the job. But I'm going to get a handmade Mockingbird-like bass soon. It's in the making.
Nice.
Custom.
Yeah. Another dark glass guy, right, Webb?
Yeah.
Webb is also a
Yep.
dark glass.
Yeah, I have the new anagram, so that thing is
It's super versatile. So it's
it does it's a Swiss cheese of everything.
yeah. You got everything in one box and good to go.
Nice, man. And you guys just played last week or a week and a half ago in Finland at a festival.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did Tulku Satanale.
Nice. And you guys played on the Saturday with Enthroned and Bewitched and
Exactly. Yep.
yeah, Ritual Hammer. Nice,
Yep.
man. And you guys also had a fill-in. We actually just had Perversifier on a few weeks ago from Merrimack, and you
Yep.
guys had Blastum from Merrimack filling in on drums for Jason for you guys.
Yeah, because he actually fucked his wrist a month ago, and it was impossible for him to play. Instead, so Blastum actually filled in. He's a long-time friend, so he actually did some filling for El Militia a long time ago. So it was obvious choice, easy choice, and
So he probably just has to show up. He knows the stuff. It's not like you guys had to rehearse
well,
prior.
yeah, he filled in, but like in 2098 or something. So yeah, it was worth a long time ago. Yeah.
Did you get together with him before you guys did to jam it all beforehand?
We did. Yeah. We had to get some rehearsal. We always get rehearsals before playing live. We don't rehearse a lot. So, but for gigs we do. Like,
And for those who don't know, I do know this, but what is the current lineup of Hell Militia?
current lineup is an old Parisian lineup. Back to an old Parisian lineup. It's still Ogdemon on bass, Zach on guitar, me on bass, obviously, Jason on drums, and Clem on Spirignis on vocals, which is one of the newest addition.
And the next Hell Militia show you guys have is in May 8th and 9th at the Black
Yeah,
Metal
it's in
Invasion.
Vienna, yeah, Austria.
Particularly a fan of doing larger festivals, or you got more into the intimate gigs?
I'd say more. I like more intimate gigs, but small festivals are let's say nowadays small festivals are like intimate gigs anyway. So when you talk about like 3, 4, or 500 people, that's a gig. It's not a festival. Everybody does festival nowadays, but it's gigs really.
Yeah, even in the States, we didn't have festivals for a long time, and now it's there's pretty much a shitload of festivals.
Yeah, it turned into the gig scene turned into the festival scene, But we don't like touring too much. We do small tours, but not big ones or anything.
What was the first festival you actually played?
Myself or
Yeah.
Emily?
You?
I don't know. It was a while back. I don't even remember. Not with Militia. And that was a festival in Paris with Gospel of Yours, Are Coming Fosters. And I was playing yoga at the time, so that was 2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the first festival you actually attended in your teens? Like as just a spectator?
Oh, the first big one was Wacken in the 90s.
Nice.
But I guess there's some others. We've been lucky in Paris. There was a lot of gig in the 90s and even before. So all the tours were going through Paris. So didn't really have to go to festivals. Oh yeah, I did Eindhoven as well in 94, 3. I don't remember. Long time ago.
And you were born in Paris in '75?
No, I was born in the north of Paris, small city, and moved to Paris late '90s. But I was coming to Paris for gigs and stuff. Had a lot of friends there, so yeah, it was kind of a natural thing to do, you know.
And, like, obviously pre-Hell Militia, pre being a band guy, like, what memories do you have as a kid of, like, growing up in, Paris?
Well, messy. Yeah, most were based around, going to gigs and stuff. So yeah, it was, when you're a kid, you go to gigs, you get drunk, you come back with the car, and you pray you don't get killed on the road. Well, you don't actually think of that, so it's fine. But no, a lot of the stuff I was doing in Paris was really just going to gigs and going to bars once in a while. But yeah, I was not living in Paris when I was in my teens.
And were you raised in a house where you were around a lot of music?
Well, no, my parents, they don't listen to music at all. I was a bit of you know, a nasty little duck that was not really. So yeah, listening to punk and hardcore and whatever, and metal and stuff was not really the household favorite. But yeah, well,
Do you
I was living in a house, so it was okay. I was on my own, and it was fine.
and do you remember the first, like, piece of music or song, whether it's a kid I mean, pre-metal, like, when you were young,
Pre-metal.
first thing that caught your attention, like, where you said, "Oh, I kinda I'm interested in this," like, even a favorite band, that kind
Oh,
of
easy. Supertramp.
okay, nice.
Like when I was like very fucking young, like maybe 7 or something.
I
Still
will
listen to it, but
I
now,
will say that's the first time we've had that answer on this show, so pretty cool. Um,
really?
yeah, yeah,
People
I
are
know.
people are too shy to answer. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, you should hear when we get the younger bands on, their answers are always kind of embarrassed to say, because a lot of kids that grew up in the '90s, but,
Well, I grew up in a time when there was not a lot of metal anyway, so yeah, or proto metal or stuff like that. And when you're 6 or 7, you're not necessarily listening to Maiden or Venom or something. So yeah.
exactly. What was the first record you purchased with your own cash?
Oof. Odd one. Uh, I couldn't say, but it's probably something we made in a bit. Oh no, actually no. That's not. I know. At least the first memorable one. It's Metallica, Ride the Lightning.
And did you have, like, a decent selection of music stores growing up in your area?
Oh, back in the day, we did have shops like there was a really good flea market in Paris when there was a lot of shops, and nowadays it's mostly gone. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff. One of the stuff I was doing when I was a kid was taking the train on a Saturday morning, going to Paris, go to the flea market, buy some records, come back.
Is there any certain stores that you preferred out of all of them?
No, I mean, no. There was a lot of different stuff. In the late '90s, there was a small shop in Paris. It's closed now. It was called Planet Rock. One of the guys, actually one of the best friend now, and it was a really good shop. It had a lot of secondhand new stuff, and bought way too much too much stuff there.
Did you guys have much access to, like, rock radio stations in the '80s and '90s or pirate radio in France?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been going on. But myself, I was not really a big. I'm not big on radio and stuff. I never really listened to it. I'm not even big on YouTube and that kind of crap. So, yeah, it's never really been my turf. So, yeah, but it's there. Yeah, there was like um, small shows, and there was a lot of that. Yeah.
And the French, like, the rock scene in the '80s, what was that? It was, like, Trust, Sortilege, Execution, and stuff like that. Now, Trust, actually, people who don't know, that was the original band who wrote Antisocial that Anthrax
Yep.
wound up covering.
Yep. That's where we're proud of that one, eh?
Yeah.
But well, the thing is, that's funny because we had this discussion last week in Finland as well. But France has never really been a big rock country. Uh, so yeah, there were bands, but when you compare with the size of the country, it's not that crazy, you know. We had a few really good bands and stuff, but it was, in my opinion, it's never been like a huge metal country, you know.
You were a fan of the Florida metal scene growing up.
Of course,
No.
who wasn't?
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, if you were into death metal and stuff, yeah, well, you were listening to Florida stuff, obviously.
And what was the first show you attended growing up?
Might be No Means Snow. Canadian band, hardcore, punk hardcore, a bit weird. And after that, it quickly turned into death metal gigs. So, yeah.
What were some of the punk bands you were into?
Mostly the old stuff. Some of English stuff, the classic exploited stuff, but I liked a lot of the old punk hardcore scene from the US, like Minor Threat and stuff like that. But I really only like the old stuff. I'm not a hardcore guy per se. I think it's very often boring to me. I prefer the more punkish side to it.
And what were some of the venues you were going to as a kid?
Oh, one was memorable because there was a lot of shows there. It was called Espace Ornano. We saw bands like Cannibal Corpse, Morbid Angel. It was a small venue, but yeah, lots of gigs there. Closed now, unfortunately. Been closed for years.
So what I'm going to do now is I am going to play some Hellbush. I'm going to pepper in some songs pre when you were in the band, and then we're going to work into when you were in there. I'm going to play Hell Militia, Psalm 2, Torture of the Saints. Do you play the song with them live now?
Oh yeah. That's one of the songs we still play live. Yeah.
I'm going to play that now. This came off of Canonization of the Foul Spirit that came out on Total Holocaust Records out of Sweden. And we're back on the Tampa Morgue after this track. This is Psalm 2, Torture of the Saints. And that was Hell Militia with Psalm 2, Torture of the Saints. And when do you start, like, when do you start getting into more of the heavy bands? Is it pretty much the gateway bands like the Slayers and the Bathories and Celtic Frosts and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's a bit caricatural at this point to say this, but yeah, I mean, you start listening to early stuff like rock stuff, and then you go to Maiden, then you go to Venom, Battery, and Slayer, and then you build up, and you end up in the death metal scene and the black metal scene.
When do you start, like, looking into or even finding out about the history of the French metal underground scene? Because obviously, as you get more into the extreme, you guys had like the Mutilations, the Zeldas, Vlad Tepes and stuff like this. Like, when do you start discovering the Black Legion bands and stuff?
Well, back when it was released, like in the 90s, that was if you were into the extreme stuff, you obviously you heard about it, so you were listening to it. It's just a fairly natural thing when it comes with tape trading and that kind of crap. So yeah,
Were you tape trading back then?
a little bit. I was not big on it, but I was doing a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. And what is your preferred format?
Today,
Yeah.
vinyl.
Vinyl.
I have CDs, but I almost never listen to it.
And when do you first pick up a bass? And is that the first instrument you ever
Yeah,
attempted?
yeah. When I was a kid, like I think I wanted to play some punk bass lines and stuff, and I actually stopped playing for a while and then came back to it. So yeah.
Are you self-taught?
Oh yeah, completely.
And when did you get your first bass?
When I was a kid, probably 14, 15, something like that.
And you play with your fingers too. You don't use
Yeah.
a pick?
Yeah, and fingers are. I don't like the pick. Well, it's just a matter of comfort, I guess. But yeah, I actually like the sound of fingers as well. So yeah.
Or like, what was the first bass you got?
Well, I think it was a Fender knockoff or something. Yeah.
And was there your first song you learned how to play?
No, I don't remember. It probably might have been something from Minor Threat or some shit like that.
Were you playing along to records? That's pretty much how you.
Yeah.
And when does the relationships? I know eventually 2010 you start working with the band already, but when does the relationship start with? At that time, what is it? Arc Damon, LSK, Thorgan, and Maynok?
Yeah, well, the thing is, and Death Terror as well, and the drums. But yeah, no, I started. I was friend with the guys, since the beginning, even before the and Militia started. So, it's I was going to rehearsal with them and stuff. So I was doing video for them. That's how I started with the band, and then I picked up the bass when the slot was there.
When did you start getting involved in the video part?
Ah.
Personally, with your like, was it pre Hell Militia?
No, not really. I think it's a bit of a not an opportunistic move, but a little bit. It was they needed someone to go on the road for the tour after Last Station on Road to Death, and they just asked me if I wanted to do it. So that's it. It built up from there.
What was your actual, like, when you're doing the video part? Like, what are you doing for the band?
Well, it was picking up videos, doing a bit of mounting a little bit, and trying to get the right setup for it. And during live, the thing is, it's not like pressing a button and let the video go. It's more of a video jockey role. We still have one. We still have one guy doing it in the band.
And
That's part of a live thing for us.
when is the first time you actually saw Hell Militia live?
Oh, I don't remember, but early.
And
I
2000.
don't remember everything from that time.
It's okay, man. 2008, 2009, 2010 period. Like, what do you remember about the French scene at that period? Because at that time you have like records coming out from Miramac, Death Spell Omega, Celestia, Blutus Nord. Like, for you, like, what do you remember about that time period and the scene at that time?
Well, it's actually funny because it was not the time when I was very active myself, personally. I was actually a bit quiet during the 2007 something. It was actually, when you're in the mood and not really, being interested in a lot of stuff. call it being down or whatever. I don't know, but depressed or I don't care. But yeah, that's how it was. But that specific period that you mentioned was not really something I was very keen on anything. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because it started to show something was, but it was a bit of a turning point, for and not only in France, but a lot of the at least the black metal scene and something turning to something a bit post bullshit or whatever, and yeah, I kind of gave up a little bit at that time.
And in Paris, if I remember correctly, we were talking to Perversifier. I think Merrimack was the first band, right, to play in Paris? Black
I
metal
think,
band?
yeah, I think they are. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Were you at that gig by any chance?
No, I wasn't.
And you mentioned you mentioned the Last Station on the Road to Death, which was the 2010 record from Hell Militia. Were you around during the recording of that record?
No, I was not there during the recording. I followed the recording because it's been done in. I think they did it in Austria. I think was it. I don't remember. But yeah, I listened to obviously the early demos and everything, but I was not around for the recording of that.
And me growing up, I've always been a fan of Manox, with Mutilation and then Suicide Circle,
course.
Militia Secrets and stuff. His solo work too, man. I actually interviewed him 20 years ago. How would you explain the man?
I don't know. He's a friend, we still get it. Even if he's not in our militia anymore, we still get along. I go to his place once in a while when I get the chance because he lives in the south of France, so it's not very close. It's not very easy, but we still talk from time to time, and we still, I wouldn't say close because we don't see each other very often, but I mean, he did a guest vocal line on the last album as well. It was just a show for us that everything is cool. And I guess there's always this thing, the myth. The myth of people. And for me, it's not that the myth doesn't really exist, but
Yeah, because I'm on the personal side.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's quieted down last year, but we all have, with age.
No. Obviously, I don't live in France, but I've followed his music for many years. Like, he's had a big contribution to the French underground metal scene, which
He did. He
Yeah.
did, yes.
I mentioned Suicide Circle too. Were you friends with Raphael, aka Rats?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't know him. I didn't know him.
And then 2010, 2012, I know you're not playing live with Hell Militia, but the band is doing shows in support of that record with Liturgy and Black Lodge and Inquisition and Horna. Are you traveling with the band at that time?
Yeah.
And Ed, we played with LSK actually in the States when she was with Secrets of the Moon, which I believe was 2009. I want to say it was. And I had a lot of respect for her, man. I got to meet her, and we always try to kind of talk when we do have people who are associated with her. We kind of bring her up because she was a part of that scene there and stuff like that, an important part of it. When did you first meet Marion or LSK?
I think when I met Marianne and Guillaume back in the day, it was, I think it was in 2000. It might have been 2000. And I think that's when we were organizing that, might be before, I don't know. That's when we were organizing that fest I told you about before, and that's when we met them because we were co-organizing the thing with friends. So yeah, that's when we met, and things caught up, and well, basically all the weekends were spent together. So yeah.
And do you have any fond memories? Like I said, you can share what you want. You don't have to. It's a very we're not
Oof,
trying
too
to.
many, mate.
Yeah,
Too
any
many.
good memories though? Any fond memories that you can share at LSK that stand out to you?
The crazy ones, or
Yeah, the crazy ones are fine, man.
there's a lot of crazy stuff, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. Tough to say. There's probably way too many stuff that comes through my head at that point, but yeah, some. Yeah, it was a lot of drug fueled stuff back in the day, and booze and whatever. So a lot of craziness going on. Especially, I remember once I was living in the 5th floor, and she decided to go from my kitchen window to my balcony, which is like a, don't know, 2 meter gap or something. and she went to for a kitchen and ended up back in the balcony. We were like, "What the fuck have you done?" And that was it, you know. That was something that stayed for a long time, you know. That story was like so fucking stupid. So, and it was a bit of a defining a character, you know, like doing something completely mental out of the blue.
And on stage, she was 100% took it totally serious
Yep.
when she was, you know. That's
Yes.
the, and do you remember the last time you spoke to her?
Whew. Yeah, it was a bit before she died. Yeah.
So I'm going to play a track off Jacob's Ladder now. Again, you know, kind of building up to when you joined the band and stuff. But I'm going to play the song "Death Worship." That came out on Seasons of Mist. And then we're going to be back here with Seb from Hell Militia after this track. This is Hell Militia with "Death Worship" off of the Jacob's Ladder record, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this. And that was Hell Militia with Death Worship. And when you're approached about the bassist position with Hell Militia, was it kind of like something that was kind of in the back of your mind?
Nah, not really. I didn't. Well, I wasn't really approached. The thing is, I was in a band doing the video at the time, and when Marion, well, it's a bit of a shitty story, but when Morin gave up the spot, I actually proposed myself since I was the bass player. I said, okay, I give up on the video and do the bass instead. And that's how it went.
And you're already part of that family kind of at that time period.
Yeah, I was already running a few things for the band as well. So, yeah.
In 2012, Maynard's already out of the band at that time already, right? And RSDX is
in. The thing is, Maynard has been in the band since the early stages, you know, that like almost since the beginning, you know, he decided to leave because he didn't want to tour anymore. You know, he didn't want to do gigs and stuff. So it was not like he was not fired. He did not quit like slamming the door or anything. You know, it was more of a we knew this would happen at some point. That's it. So there was no bad blood, no nothing. It just happened.
Was that a hard job for RSDX to fill? Do you feel like when he first came in?
You would have asked him, but I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. It's well. The thing is, as you said before, there's a bit of a myth thing with Menak and stuff. So everybody expect something, always, especially in a singer, you know.
Jacob's Ladder had not been released. Well, he was already in the band RSDX, right? Before that album even came out?
No. Jacob's Ladder is the last with Menak.
Yeah, but Maynard left before the release. It actually came out, didn't he?
No, well, no, it came out and he dropped. Yeah.
Okay. When was your first live gig with the band?
Myself?
Yeah.
I think that was a tour with Black Lodge and Eosaf.
You know, you'd been around this band for years, since 2010. You know, and now you're part of it. Was that kind of an odd experience?
It was a very friendly experience, you know, because all the bands, it was all French bands. We all knew each other. It was more of a going on holidays thing more than anything, so to speak, you know. It's weird holidays because I ended up being more tired at the end.
And you guys you guys did Hellfest at that time period, Death Cult Open Air. You guys did.
Death Cult was killer. Hellfest, well, it's an experience, but whatever.
What is your favorite fest to play?
Size-wise or
like if I see Hellfest as an outsider, you see it and it looks insane.
I don't like. I'm not a big fan of a big fest. I'm not saying we're not going to do it or anything, but it's not my favorite part. I prefer, you know, things like as you mentioned, Death Cult, or the one we did recently a few years ago was Prague Death Mass, which was absolutely killer. You know, things where you have maybe, I don't know, 1,000 people tops or something. I think it's best. That's what I like the most.
And what's your least favorite thing about doing the fest? Like, are you someone who likes doing live shows? Like, if it was up to you, are you more of a studio guy or a
No, we're more we all of us are more live people. We like to bring it on stage, you know. That's why we're probably so slow in writing stuff.
At 2013, 2014, you guys are doing shows with Temple of Baal, Dead Congregation, Whiskey Ritual, Decision to Hate. You guys also play the States. You guys with the Gospel of the Pig with Lord Mantis. And first of all, for you, was that your first time in the States?
Personally, no. I've been there as a tourist before. One memorable time was in 2003 when I accompanied Destroyer 666 when they played in Jersey in L'Amour's Club.
Yeah, I know L'Amour's, yes.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We're originally Jersey guys, me and Ed, so we know this very well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was but that weekend was memorable. Well, not everything was memorable, but it was a fun trip. But yeah, no, as a playing band, that was the first time. Yeah.
You brought up Destroyer 666, and I'm a big fan of that band. And I have to say, man, I just saw them, I don't know, probably the last time was 2 years ago in Vilnius, Lithuania. They played with Unleashed and Asagrum. And, you know, you will know more than I do because you've been around the band. We've had we had Kev Desecrator on here last month or 2 months ago for the band, the drummer and stuff. But you know, one thing I get with Destroyer 666, what I love, because I feel like this is missing in a lot of bands these days, is I feel like it's the real deal. And when you're, you've been around the guys, like you kind of get that dangerous feel, like, when you're a kid that you kind of imagine bands having. And now maybe this is that myth that you're telling that we were talking about with other people, but you kind of feel like that when you're around Destroyer or when you were.
I don't know. I don't see it this way, but I get it. I get where you're going. At least, yeah, it's a real deal. It's
They're
not
gritty. They have balls. You feel like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not like I mean, yeah, there's a bit of trouble and stuff, and that's how it should be, I guess.
No. And when you did the U.S. dates, you guys played North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Georgia.
Yeah,
What city stand out for you?
East Coast, yeah. Yeah,
What
East
city
Coast.
stood out to you?
Actually, we played that festival in Brooklyn, Militia-The, and that was actually that was very good. The other dates were very small club stuff. Uh, uh, Chicago was absolutely miserable.
Oh, you guys played at the Cobra Lounge, right?
Yeah, that was a fucking pain in the ass.
Is that what?
It was a shit date. The worst of the tour. The worst of the tour, actually. But no, we had a few good days. I mean, I actually liked Atlanta. The gig in Atlanta was actually pretty good, and we had a few good shows. Some so-so, but I guess that's how it is in the U.S. for small bands, anyway.
Yeah, what was your, being now obviously not from the States, what was your thoughts when obviously you had been there once before with Destroyer, and in general, what's your thoughts of the States when you head in there? And like, you can say whatever you want. We're not like, we're not gonna be offended, believe me.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the States. So the thing is, I think the States is a super beautiful country. There's a lot of very cool things to see. I guess I'm just too European,
No.
and I don't really find myself in the American way or whatever. It's not my thing. I like old stuff, fella, and yeah, I don't think the same way. I don't think about money and stuff, and there was something that actually was very weird for me in the US is this way people actually interact with you sometimes. I'm speaking the general public, not metalheads or
Yeah.
anything, But the way they interact with you, it feels like it's always interested, There's always something that they're gonna sugarcoat things for you, whatever. It's weird. It felt strange for me.
That's no, totally cool, man. Yeah, it was, and then you guys did a European tour in 2014 also.
Yes,
2015, you guys did in Flamen, and you guys did a Doomsday Celebration in the Netherlands with Soulburn, Funeral Winds.
yes,
Then you guys did, so 2016, you guys did shows with Angel Corpse in France.
yes. Yeah, Pete is a longtime friend.
We had Gene on here a few times, but yeah, Angel Corpse is a great band.
Yeah, well, I'm for me, the Order from Chaos is an all-time favorite.
Yeah.
So I had Pete at my place a few times. So yeah.
Then 2016, you did that, and then 2017, you did Rights of the Black Mass in Romania. How was that gig?
Yes, and then we that was good actually. This one was very good, and but yeah, we had a bit of a. We decided not to play live too much because we wanted to actually write stuff at the time, and we actually pushed away some offers for shows. Decided, okay, if we want to write stuff and record stuff, we have to stop playing live. Otherwise, we just gonna rehearse for live and never for new songs. And that was not such a great decision because it took us even longer. And then COVID hit and stuff and blah blah blah. So.
Yeah, and were you probably like, you probably want to get on a recording, right? So you're probably ready to get on a record with the band too at that time period?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about visiting countries and stuff like that, what is some of your favorite countries that you visited so far?
Ooh. You mean as a band or as a tourist?
Or it could be as a tourist even, yeah, or a band or a tourist. For you, as a personal.
I don't know. As a band, I guess we mostly did Europe. So, but I like most of Europe in general. I think it's the European crowd usually is quite good. I know a lot of American band when they tour Europe, they actually are really happy about how it turns out because it feels probably very different than the US and a lot more laid back. I guess I don't know. It's But as a tourist, I don't know, Japan, mate. It's great.
Oh, Japan, nice. And and that time period, right? Why did T Persecutor leave the band?
A bit after Marianne died. He
Wow.
just vanished.
Okay. And that's but then I believe the replacement, Saroth, he had actually filled in on guitar in 2014 with the band.
Yeah, that's
Before he had
actually
joined?
yeah. He joined when Torture left. Well, vanished. We had a tour planned, so we asked Zach Saroff to fill in, and he ended up being a regular member now. So it's been 10 years, more than 10 years now, 12 years.
And not to get too deep into it, but was that a pretty for the band itself when LSK, Marion passed away, was
It was
that
shit
crushing
times,
for
man.
you guys?
Yeah, it was shit times. Shit times. It was not good. It was, yeah, trouble times.
You guys stopped doing live shows around that period, 2019 period?
Yeah, we decided not to do anything and focused on writing, which we did. And there's actually a funny story about that because we finished the writing everything. We go to rehearsal, the last rehearsal, because saying, okay, we're ready, we're gonna record. So we go to the rehearsal place, spend the day there. We end up at the end of the day saying, okay, we're good, everything's fine, let's book a date. So we decide to book a date for the drum recording, and then lockdown. The exact date, and it pushed again like for 9 months extra and shit. So yeah, I was really the fate was not with us at that time.
Oh, you're probably like ready to get on a record. You're ready to, record this and everything. And, and how bad was the lockdown by you guys in France?
The part of me was actually fine about it because I got to stay home and not see any cunts.
Yeah.
So the part was good. Another part was like, yeah, it was long, and I was working from home. So yeah, it makes for long days.
There was the live streams going on. It just didn't feel to me.
I
It felt
fucking
weird.
hated it.
Yeah, it just
Hated
felt
it.
weird. Yeah,
I
maybe-
hated it.
Yeah,
I think it was stupid, especially the paid stuff and whatever. I hated it. Obituary did one and was like, what the fuck is that? I understand it's a job, they have to make money out of it, but it's it felt wrong.
it was just a fucked up time period that it was like a bad movie. Before we get into obviously you guys working on the Hollow Void record and stuff, I want to just mention really fast. Can you mention a couple of the projects that you've been involved with outside of Hell Militia? 'Cause I know there's Death and you guys and a couple other bands. Man, what do you want to tell us about outside of Hell Militia? What you've done?
Well, as I said, I haven't really done a lot, but I always be fond of the bit of time I spent with Razor Volcam. It was when Matt Razor was living in Paris, so early 2000 stuff, and he needed a bass player to actually rehearse stuff. So I spent a bit of time doing bass with him, and it was really fucking interesting. It was because the bass line were actually really fucking cool. And in the end, he moved to London, so it was very hard to rehearse, and he found someone else, which was fine. But I actually I released the mini LP Pillars of Creation at the time.
I was going to ask you, Circle of Tyrants, was that your
Yes, yeah,
label?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Small label. I just did the Razor Bockham stuff.
Okay.
I was not meant to run a record label.
Oh, you also had a couple other projects you were involved with.
Yeah, Yoga, which same small band, just released demos. Did a few shows with them. It didn't last that long, but I'm still friend with a singer, a drummer. I don't see him very often anymore, and yeah, that's about it. I'm not one to spread my wings everywhere. I'm staying with Hell Militia. I'm fine with it.
Before the lockdown, how much material do you guys have? You guys already have
Everything was written. Everything was done. Everything was done and rehearsed.
So you guys are just sitting, you're just waiting basically then.
Yeah, we were waiting for it to be over to actually go to the studio to record. Yeah.
And what is the writing process for Hell Militia? Does everybody have a hand in it?
It changed over the years. At the beginning, everything was written by Tortura. He did everything. And it changed over the year. For example, All Void is mostly written. Almost everything is written by Sarov, Zach. And basically the process, it comes with riffs, and we say, okay, this, yes, no, yes, no. We do a basic pre-check on everything, and then start going into the rehearsal room to actually work on the song. That's it.
And on that album, RSDX did all the lyrics for that?
Yes, on All Void, yes, he did.
That you pretty much have free reign on your bass. You kind of give your ideas, and you get the thumbs up or thumbs down, basically.
It's yeah, as I said, it's more of a usually Zach comes for pretty much everything, and after that we work around it. That's it.
I'm gonna play Kingdom Scorched off that record. Anything you could tell us about this one?
Actually, that's funny because this one is a track we never played live. Never.
Never played it live.
Yeah, maybe we will. Who knows? Well, we change the set list sometimes, so maybe it will come. We don't know. We'll see.
When you guys are doing this record, after that long of a period between records, you got to evolve, but you don't want to leave behind what Hell Militia was when it started.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what happened. The idea was to actually, there was a bit of a plan set up for what the album should have sounded like. The idea has always been right after the Jacob's Ladder, actually. But the idea was always to do something that is a mix between the first album and Jacob's Ladder. Keep the grittiness and the filth of the first album, and with a more musicianship of Jacob's Ladder. To try to make a bit of a mix of the two. And I think that's the recipe worked for us. We liked the result.
What was your favorite release from Hell Militia?
Canonization.
Okay. And what's your favorite song pre Hollow Void? What's your favorite to play live? Or
I don't know. Impossible to say. It changes
that's a
all the time.
good problem, though.
Yeah, it's a good problem. Yeah.
This is Hell Militia with Kingdom Scorched from the Hollow Void record that came out in 2022, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this track. And that was Kingdom Scorched from Hell Militia. And where exactly did you guys record the record at?
We did the drums at a friend's place. Well, actually, our current drummer's father has got a cave, which is totally mic'd up for recording, and it's a proper studio, but it's very good for the drums. So we did the drums there, and everything else has been done in the home studio of BST.
And artwork wise, you guys used from the Netherlands, right? Manuel Timmins, who did work for
Yes.
Necrophagia, Pentacle, Decibel Omega.
Yep.
How do you guys get a hold of him? And do you guys have much say in the artwork, or is it kind of like you guys turn him over some lyrics and some
What-
music? Or
It was a friend of RSDX, a good friend. So he actually asked him to say, "Okay, can you actually do some artwork for us?" And we gave a bit of a rough idea, and we followed the process from the very early sketches. I still have some somewhere in my computer, like very like you got a really piece of paper and it's just like a few lines here and there.
oh yeah, we do that too, man. Yeah, exactly.
And it was like so it started from there and it built up for a few months, and yeah, that was good. That was really good. I really liked the process of that cover. It was really cool.
And we this always comes up every episode, but for us again, especially, and you too, you're our age too. So we bought records off album covers, right? I mean, how many times
Of
you pick up
course.
a record that you don't even know what the hell it is back in the day, but you pick it up because you see the cover of it. And again, with Hell Militia, how important is the artwork?
Well, I'm not gonna say it's everything, but it needs to be good. It needs to mean something. It needs to be punchy. It can't be. I see way too many covers that are fucking shitty computer stuff. Even IA now, it's yeah. I don't want that. I need something to be a bit more with a bit of soul into it.
And that's gonna be a thing too. We were talking about this with a band the other night, I mean, it's only a time period, you figure our ages now, I mean, I'm afraid to say it, but probably in like 10 or 15 years, AI is gonna be bands are gonna be using that shit all the time for artwork. We've already seen it now with some bands, like,
Yeah. Well,
it's awful. I mean, but do you kind of agree that it's pretty much gonna you gotta figure we have these standards because we grew up, like, the way it was, but it's a different world now.
it is a different world. Well, I'm not against IA. I work in computers, so I use IA all day because it's useful. It's a tool. I just don't like IA for the creative process, for the creative things like music or drawings or whatever. I think it's there's nothing there. Of course, people will give me counter arguments. It's endless. It's even pointless to actually try to argue about this kind of thing because everybody will have its own idea of it, and it's some people say, yeah, but it's easy. You can get something a professional grade for nothing. Okay, fine, but where's the? It's almost metaphysic at this point.
Oh.
Where's the soul? Where's the process? I think it's important.
Yeah,
But
and
it's probably because of my age as well.
yeah, and when is it gonna be when eventually someone is definitely gonna get again, which is the same thing we were having a conversation about the other night. Eventually, when is the band gonna get busted for using a band for using AI to make their records? Because there was, like, a black metal album out, I think it was, like, 2 or 3 years or a couple months ago.
Volkswagen or some shit.
Yeah, yeah, and it was, like, this big stir because people were like it was a total fake album or some shit like that, and
Yeah.
I'm sure things to come, unfortunately.
Well, it probably already exists. It's
Yeah.
it's probably already there. Covers, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Even the
we've
big
definitely seen
bands are
that.
doing it. It's even more of a shame, for bigger bands. I think because at least they have a bit of budget that can go into that. Small bands, why not? But they just say why not for demo bullshit, whatever. But I don't know. I think it's soulless,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, plus, artists we mentioned, Tinnemans and guys like, just whatever artist does covers, eventually, these guys that we all know their name, like the Repkas or whoever the hell it is, it's like eventually it's, I'm afraid that's gonna be a thing of the past, but,
Oh yeah, the whole thing is doomed. I think, unfortunately, it's doomed. But it comes with the whole generation right now. It's everything needs to be quick, cheap, easy, blah blah blah. Okay, well, okay. Where's the reward in that?
and you see it with I'm sure you've seen it a shitload of times when you guys are playing gigs. How many times do you see people in front of the stage on their cell phones?
I
How
don't
does that
know.
what's your guys' thoughts on that?
I don't know. I tend to not really care about it. I'm not really one for to look at people when I play. I mean, I'm there, I do my stuff, but I'm not. I'm not, looking people in the white of their eyes or whatever. Whatever you want to be a dick with your phone, be a dick.
Nope.
Whatever. But it's funny because I will actually enjoy someone who in the crowd who punch a guy or throws a guy's phone in. Yeah, I'll enjoy that. Yeah.
Yep. So and going back to the Hollow Void record, man, how was the chemistry at the band at that time? Was that 2022 period?
It was
2021?
it was weird. It was weird because the thing is the chemistry right at the moment of the album was good, and it collapsed after that. It collapsed a little bit after that.
It's 2022, right, that RSDX leaves the band? First of all,
Yes.
yeah, why did he leave the band?
Yeah, we released the album. We did a rehearsal. Uh, we did not a rehearsal, a release party for the album in Paris, which was actually quite good. We had Menak come on stage with us and stuff, so it was good. And then we did a small show in Germany, which was a bit of a catastrophe. And by the time our drummer left already, he still lives in Sweden.
That's Dave
Uh,
Terror leaves the band,
yeah,
right?
yes, yeah, yeah. It was making it. Everything was increasingly difficult to actually rehearse and actually try to bring things together. So yeah, he decided to leave. And then we played Canada, and well, that's when RSDs left. Stupid stories, whatever, blah blah blah, bullshit, drama. You get it.
Oh, definitely, yeah, and, how does Jason, get involved and, Spurringus become a part of Hell Militia?
Yeah, he's a childhood friend of Zach Saroff, and as a friend of us as well. So it was a bit of a they played with him in the Temple of Bell as well. So it was a bit of a natural move to ask him to actually join. Uh, Same for Spirignis as well. We met him a few years back before joining, and when we were looking for a singer, we're not one band that we're gonna put an ad in a magazine or whatever. It needs to be a bit close to us, otherwise it doesn't work. And when we were looking for people, and we just realized that it was probably a good match. And we asked him, and he said, "Fuck yeah, let's go." And that was it. And since then, the lineup is fucking stable so far.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when Maynard left, I was bummed. I was like, "Oh, shit," but you guys it's held together, man, and, I thought Hollow Void's a killer record. You guys have definitely kept on going, and the first show back from COVID, was that, Forest Fest open air in Switzerland?
I think no, that was no. How was it? Was it that? No, I think it was a release party in Paris.
Yes.
Hmm.
And so how was it when, getting back on the stage after that time off,
Oh,
was
it
it
felt
kind of
good, man. It
yeah.
felt good. Like finally, As I said, we like to play long. That's why I think. Again, maybe that's the age talking, but I think a metal band should be on the stage, doing playing, pushing out the energy and stuff. And I have a hard time with all those bands that decide to never play live, whatever. It feels weird, but wow. So yeah, for us, obviously, our place is on the stage. We don't play very often, but
Yeah, because you guys did after that, you guys did the Odyssey Montreal in 2022, which you mentioned.
Yes.
You guys did the Forest Fest with Possession and Slaughter Messiah and stuff. You guys did Prague Death Fest, uh, House of the Holy in
Look,
Austria, man. So we had Eric from Goat Seaman I don't know, probably last year. They had just played it. Told me it was out of the whole tour, which was a killer tour. He said it was a
it's
magical
amazing.
moment. So for you, man, how was the experience?
No, the place is crazy. Well, I mean, we've known Bart, the owner of
And he
the
was in
place.
Belphegor.
Yes, yeah, he used to play bass for Belphegor like a long time ago.
He just played here, man, at, I don't know if you heard, there was a show at a prison here with Luctus, in
Okay.
Lithuania, and they played at you ever see the Stranger Things, that show that's on?
Yeah.
They played at the prison from that
Okay.
here. Barth played there, his other band, yeah, it was killer, man, so yeah.
All right, killer. Yeah, but the guy is a character, so yeah. Well, the thing is, he offered us to play like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, something, and the thing didn't go through for whatever reason, probably Bart reason. Knowing it, we talked about it. He's like, "Yeah, I forgot." He offered us a slot at the House of the Holy, and well, there was Barrett playing. So for us, for me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna see Barrett. It's
Yeah, it was Merrimack played that too?
yeah. So yeah, but that one was absolutely killer. Yeah, the place is absolutely crazy. It's just insane.
No. I heard
Weird lineup, but insane.
I heard there's all bones hanging up everywhere and stuff.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
And then
You should
last
see
year
the backstage area, mate. Insane.
And last year you guys played Odyssey to Blasphemy Fest in Germany. You guys also played Czechia. And then, brings us kind of to now, man. So, of course, I'm going to ask you the question because I was looking forward to asking you this question before you came on, man. So, is there new material? Let's start out there. Is there new Hell Militia material?
It's being written.
Okay. So how many, yet again, I'm not going to hold you to the fire. So what you can't say, I totally understand. But how many tunes would you say, or how many songs are written so far?
I'd say 4, close to 5. And we're working on getting a few more. And so hopefully, I say hopefully, but again, every time I say that, things prove me wrong. So, of course.
What are we on, 4 years now? Right,
Uh,
from Hollow Void?
Yeah, 4 years. 4 years. But quality, not quantity, I guess. And again, we've never been really fast. We decided again not to do too many shows this year. We have a few, but not too many, and so we can actually write stuff. But it's a bit different than before. Everybody's in Paris nowadays, so it's easier to actually rehearse and plan a few writing sessions and whatever.
Now, are you guys, rehearsing like, obviously when we're all younger, we can rehearse 7 days a week or 5 days a week and stuff. But when you guys start everyone's got real lives and shit, stuff changes. How often is Hell Militia getting together?
Not very often.
No.
Nah, usually when we have stuff to rehearse, we do rehearse. Otherwise, we don't. That's
Where are
it.
you guys rehearsing at these days?
Well, we've been rehearsing in the same place for God knows how many years. There's a rehearsal studio in Paris called Luna Rosa, and it's probably the biggest in Paris. Every band goes there. It's not the best rehearsal place ever, but it's okay. It works. It's not too far for anybody. It's in Paris, so it's very easy.
And is the writing process on this album going to be the same as it was on Hollow Void?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very similar. Yeah.
And in your opinion, man, obviously 2026. Are you someone who goes to shows actively in the area?
I still do. Well, maybe less than when I was 20, I guess. But yeah, I still go to show. Yeah.
And what's your opinion on the current scene there?
It sucks.
Hey, well, honesty, hey, man.
Well, no. The thing is, I'm not one for scenes. I think it's a bit of a. It's fine when you're a kid. You have to appropriate yourself, and you have to fit in something or whatever. When you get older, I guess you don't care that much, and I think it's. I don't find that the scene nowadays as interesting as it used to be. it goes back to a lot of stuff that is a bit too easy now. You know, everything can come out in 2 seconds or whatever. It's sometimes stuff is like, because you're active on Instagram, you're gonna why? You know, it makes no sense.
No.
You know, you mentioned that bullshit band, IS stuff or whatever. Everybody listen to that crap. Why?
Wow.
You know?
No, it's a hard you're right, man. Even with this show that we do here on this Tampa Morgue show, we don't do video. We pretty much, we could just cover music, like the history of the underground music
Yeah.
scene. That's our whole
Yeah.
thing is we kind of make a timeline. So basically 10 years from now or 15 years from now, someone can go back and it's still relevant. It's
Yeah, exactly.
it's a history lesson. That's how we look at it. So I totally get what you're saying, man. And and for you, what is your obviously we mentioned Tampa earlier, but there's obviously through these kind of you've had there's the Finland's. I'm talking like all time too. You have Norway, Finland, France, Tampa. Like, what is your favorite? Would you say the bands that come out of a certain area? Do you have a favorite like zone,
No,
so to say?
no, nah, because it's too complicated to actually pinpoint anything. I'll be able to say Canada or England or of Sweden, or it makes no sense, you know.
Yeah.
For example, Canada has some of my favorite bands ever, like Voivod. That's it. Uh, I could go with Sweden with Bathory. You know, it makes no sense to actually. I don't think trying to put things in country boxes is very relevant.
Yeah.
If it's good, it's good. That's it.
I agree. Yeah. Have you guys done Steel
No,
Fest?
we haven't done Steelfest. We haven't done Steelfest. Maybe someday. We'll see.
Are you a fan of playing? I mean, I always think that Finland has some killer bands too, man. Are you a fan of doing shows in Finland?
I like playing Finland. I'm not a fan of most of the bands. It's not really my type of black metal mostly. And nobody can match Barrett anyway.
And outside of like say extreme metal, like what would surprise people that you're into? Like outside of that, like
Oh, music wise, you mean?
yeah, music. Like outside of like the extreme, what would be some of your interests that people wouldn't probably even think
I
of?
don't know. To be honest, nowadays I listen to more and more of stuff from the 70s, 60s, and 70s.
Because we're old,
Rock
man.
or
It's because we're old. It's hard to find shit now, right?
yeah. That's a good example, you know. But now I listen to more and more of that crap. It probably comes from the fact when I was a kid, it for me it was that rock or whatever, you know, something that I didn't want to listen to. And when you get older, you try to discover new stuff sometimes, you know. But I still stay in the realm of rock or metal and stuff. I don't really do electronic or stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know.
Do you find the stuff that maybe you didn't as a kid, you're like, I don't want to fucking listen to this. The dad rock stuff. Now you go back at this age and you're like, oh damn, man, that was pretty good. Or you start
Yeah.
getting it, you start understanding it more. Like
One of the best example for me is early Scorpion.
yeah,
When I
there
was
you go.
when I was a kid, I didn't want to listen to Scorpion because back in the day it was the 80s stuff, the ballad crap or whatever stuff I was really like.
Yeah.
And then a few years back, like maybe 10, 12 years ago, or maybe more, 15 years ago, I said, okay, I'm going to give it a shot again, you know, to the old stuff. And then I discovered Yuli General.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's it. And all the stuff with Yuli General for me is absolutely mental.
Oh. I'm gonna give you one right here that I mean, people are gonna kill me when they hear this, but if they actually go back, they'll understand. If you listen to White Snake before the '87 album, the blues albums,
Yeah.
like the Bernie albums, the stuff that's like not even you wouldn't even know it was White Snake if you didn't hear Coverdale singing. Some great stuff, man.
Yeah, I know, but I agree. You know, a lot of his stuff is I'm a massive ZZ Top fan. I
ZZ
love
Top's
it.
another great fucking band.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the blue stuff, the early stuff is absolutely killer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sometimes you don't realize that, when you go back and like, the Deep Purples or when John Lord was with Snake and stuff, it's good stuff, man. You just when you get older, you start appreciating it.
I still got a hard time with Led Zeppelin, but yeah, well,
That's because you
it can't like it all, eh?
yeah, no, I get it, man. Yeah, and for you guys, so you have obviously you're working on new material. And like show-wise, what's planned for 2026 that you can announce?
Right now, we only have one show in Austria, in Vienna, Smalls Fest, which should be good. Small stuff, but it should be fine. And then we'll see. We'll see. So far, as I said, we're not really picking up on stuff too much because we want to focus on writing. So 2026 might be a bit quiet gig-wise.
Nice, man. And anybody who's looking for anything merchandise or the usual salesman stuff, where would you
Yeah,
send them?
no, we don't have usually we sell at gigs. We don't really have a shop anymore. We used to, but well, I'm not very much of a merchant, I kind of suck at it. But people can drop us an email or anything and ask us what we have in stock, and I'll reply.
Nice, man. Well, Seb, dude, first of all, man, I wanted to thank you for coming on here, man. I would want.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, it's great, man. I've followed the band for many, many moons, man. And through the changes and stuff like that, and killer band. I'm gonna play "Corruption Rejoice" on the way out tonight. Anything you could tell us about this track?
Oh, that's actually I think that's my favorite track on the album. I don't know. I think it makes for a great closer of an album, and I love the fact that we did it with Willie as well. With Menak.
Yeah.
It had a bit of a I don't know. It has a bit of an aura that I fucking love in it.
Yeah, no, it's a great tune. Hollow Void's killer. I'm looking forward to the next record, man. Hopefully, it'll be in the
It
next
should be
year
the
or
same
two.
vein. We're not gonna stray too far.
Yeah. No,
We're not
man.
gonna go post bullshit.
Yeah. No, dude, excited for it, man. And again, when it's ready, you're always welcome to come on here. You guys have an open door. We appreciate you guys giving us your time and anything you want to say on the way out of here.
Well, thanks for the support first, and we'll see you on the road, eh?
Yeah, exactly, man. And again, appreciate it. And we'll say goodbye to you here in a few minutes. Everybody else, we're going to play some Corruption Rejoice from the Hollow Void record that came out on Season of Mist Underground Activists from Hell Militia. And again, Seb, thanks again, brother.
Thank you, Mike.
This is Hell Militia with Corruption Rejoice from Hollow Void. And we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue with me and Ed after this track. And that was Hell Militia, and we thank Seb for coming on and hanging out. Ed, episode 132 in the books.
Just flying down the street, brother. We're flying by the seat of our pants every fucking episode. I don't know. I feel like we go through 6 or 7 pairs of underwear trying to keep this thing on the.
Fucking man, if people just don't know, tonight has
They
been a real
don't,
shit
man.
show behind the
Man,
scenes.
shit we have to deal with to get this shit done. But you know what? It's worth. If you could hear the laugh tracks and the stuff off the show, you guys wouldn't think we were metal. I don't know. Sometimes some of the shit that it takes to make this show happen, and it's all out of our pockets, folks. So enjoy it.
Yeah, if you think a 7-hour interview is long, you should hear the blooper tape.
This shit's, it is what it is, but it's fun because we get to talk to some really killer people, and I've met some cool people along the way, and I'll probably see some really cool people on tour that we've had on the show. So yeah, man, it's awesome.
Oh, yeah, man, I definitely agree, dude. And, like I said, this is a learning experience every week. Every week it's a new lesson. Sometimes they suck, the lessons, but that's part of the game. But yeah, we appreciate everybody, as always, who hangs out and checks out the shows. I think we did like 3 interviews last week. And like I said, we have a lot of stuff we're doing for the show behind the scenes. So yeah, it's a lot of shit.
Some of the stuff that we talk about or some of the people we talk to, I'm just like, man, we get to do cool shit. You know what I mean? This is really cool. Yeah,
I'm glad you're having a good time. I'm joking.
Yeah,
No, I mean, no,
Yeah.
definitely, man. It's been an experience. Like you said, none of us, me and you, did not want to even do this. This was never a thought we had. Just kind of happened. So, and
Well,
like
you
I
said
said,
it.
man,
You said it last week or the other day when we were talking. You're like, if you never moved to Lithuania, this
wouldn't be doing
podcast would
this.
not exist
No.
because we would be in the same vicinity. We'd probably still be doing Generic Christ on the reg, just because you'd be here. You know what I mean? We would be doing shit, but because you're thousands and thousands of miles away and our wives got tired of us walking around the house on Messenger talking, that's how this started. And lo and behold, a creation was born. I mean, I don't regret it. You know what I mean? Because
No.
it's people don't realize how time consuming it really is to do this. We're trying to get shows so that we have zero downtime while I'm on the road, because I haven't toured, like legitimately toured and done the show. Like doing shows, going to Maryland or whatever, San Antonio is one thing, but being gone 3 weeks and we're putting out consistently a show every week, we haven't done that. So we're trying to make sure we have no lapse in a show every week. So, and we won't, because
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
A lot of shit, we've collected through the last couple weeks. So, again, when Ed's away, there will still be shows. And man, Ed, I don't know about you, but I am ready to get the hell out of here.
Yep, I'm done.
Wow.
I'm cooked. This episode cooked me.
Oh, it's been a fun one, but no, it was Seb was great. Like I said, we had some technical difficulties throughout the last few hours, but hey, we made it work. And Ed, where can they find us?
Apple, Amazon, Spotify, anywhere that there's a podcast. TampaMorgue@gmail.com for correspondence. And of course, the Instagram, because Facebook blows chunks. Tony's always updating that freaking Instagram. I woke up to take a leak at 4:00 in the morning and it was telling me there's a story pending. And I was like, well, that's awesome. So yeah, it's consistent. I mean, that seems to be the easiest way to get out your stuff is Instagram.
Right
So,
now it
for
is.
sure.
We all know it changes eventually, but right now we're gonna
We're
roll
rolling
with that
with the punches. You got it.
Yeah. No, man. And again, everybody, Tampa Morgue, Instagram is the best place, like Ed said, to keep up to date. And next week will be, actually, I'm not even going to say who next week. I'm not even going to tell you who
Exactly.
next week's going to be. There will be a guest, and appreciate you listening. Peace.
See ya.
This is King Fally from Deceased, and you just listened to another episode of the Tampa Morgue. Tune in next week and stay fucking dead.